those delicious recipes. Damn, that's good.
Mac and cheese, let's give it a bite. Damn, that's good.
Damn, that's good. On today's episode of LiveLeanTV, I'm sharing the best healthy pasta substitute and answering a viewer question: is pasta bad for you? And at the end of this video, I'll also be sharing a few low calorie and low carbohydrate pasta recipes, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. And guys, this is another post from our hashtag TBT Q&A series that I filmed back in 2012. So first I'm gonna share my answer from 2012, then I'll answer the same question again today with more details and of course, those delicious recipes. But first, if you're new to our channel, guys, make sure you smash that subscribe button right down there and join the LiveLean Nation. And while you're down there, smash that like button down below. All right, with all that said, guys, let's first jump back to 2012 and hear my answer. From Melanie, who's on my Facebook, her question is, what are your thoughts about pasta? I tend to eat spaghetti and macaroni once a week with minced veggies. Well, if you're only doing it once a week, by all means, go ahead, do it. You can call that your treat meal, whatever you want to call it, but just don't eat pasta every single day. Don't eat pasta every second day. It's very high in carbs, and that's going to throw your insulin levels all over the place. And when I say your insulin levels, that's a hormone in your body. That's a fat-storing hormone that you really need to control to maintain your weight and to lose fat. All right, now here's my answer 7 years later, guys. Traditional forms of pasta such as spaghetti and macaroni are classified as processed and refined carbohydrates. So other popular refined carbohydrates include bread, cereal, and other sweets, and of course those drinks that are filled with added sugar. And guys, speaking of bread, if you're looking for healthier bread alternatives, I did a similar post on the best bread substitutes right here. Okay, so first of all, what are refined carbohydrates? Well, refined carbohydrates are primarily made from highly processed grains that have been stripped of the fiber. So pasta is also referred to as a simple sugar because it is quickly digested by the body since most of that fiber has been removed. And unfortunately, the standard American diet, also known as SAD, contains a lot of calories that come from refined carbohydrates, especially these comfort foods like spaghetti and macaroni and cheese. So here is why too much pasta is bad for you. Number one, pasta is high in calories but low in nutrients and fiber. So again, pasta such as spaghetti and macaroni are calorie dense, meaning they are high in calories for a small amount of food. Plus they are low in overall hunger crushing nutrients such as protein, healthy fat, and fiber. For example, a serving of pasta is usually around 200 calories, which is mainly comprised of refined carbohydrates. Compare that to a serving of grilled vegetables, which is closer to 50 calories, plus it's loaded with nutrients. And another important thing is your body doesn't burn as many calories when you're digesting processed food, because when you eat animal protein and fibrous vegetables, your body actually burns more calories trying to digest it. Okay, number two, pasta spikes your blood sugar and insulin. So since pasta is lower in fiber, it is quickly digested by your body, thus spiking your blood sugar. And since your digestive system is just not built to digest that amount of sugar at that rapid speed, it increases the production of the insulin hormone. And if you're not familiar with insulin, guys, it's often referred to as the fat storing hormone because it stores excess sugar in the fat cells. And number three, pasta can increase your hunger and cravings. So when your blood sugar is spiked, insulin is then produced to quickly remove that excess sugar from your bloodstream. Now, what does this do? It then causes your blood sugar to crash. It can alter your neurotransmitters, thus making you feel even hungrier and craving more calories throughout the day. It's a never-ending cycle. And number four, pasta makes you store extra water. So since carbohydrates increase water retention, by removing pasta from your diet, it'll help you shed more of that unnecessary stored water weight that's under your skin. When you do this, it can help make you feel leaner, tighter, and less puffy. And number five, pasta is even worse for you if you're not active. So a diet high in refined carbohydrates like pasta can cause metabolic issues as well as increasing the risk of diabetes. So when you're not active, this increases your risk even more. So based on all this, guys, you may be wondering why the government's food pyramid tells you to eat 6 to 11 servings of pasta, bread, and cereal a day. I know. Well, if you're eating a lot of pasta, guys, I recommend you swap out refined pasta with fibrous carbohydrates. So I've included some fibrous carbohydrates in these best pasta substitutes. And if weight loss is your primary goal, guys, you're in luck because some of these pasta substitutes are also lower in carbohydrates and calories. Okay, healthy pasta substitute number 1, zucchini. Now, zucchini is packed full of fiber and nutrients and is very low in carbohydrates and calories. So this makes spiraled zucchini noodles the perfect spaghetti or linguine substitute. All you have to do, guys, is use like what's called a veggetti to make the zucchini into noodles, or just slice them thinly with a peeler. It tastes great, won't spike your fat storing insulin, and we consider it a free food, so you can pretty much eat as much zucchini as you like. And if you want to try it out for yourself, guys, check out this low carb paleo zucchini pasta recipe. Let's go. All right, guys, first step is your zucchini. So you're gonna trim off the ends, get rid of those little ugly things. And then, as I said, you can either skin them or you can leave the skin on. I'm gonna leave the skin on. And then I wanna introduce you to my friend, little Mr. Veggetti here. So this is a spiralizer. You can use whatever you want to spiralize it, but we like this, it's very simple. There's a thick side and a thin side. We're gonna go thick side for this. Take your zucchini, take the end of the veggetti, stick it in there, and you're just going to spiralize it. So you see, it's making zucchini noodles like that. It's gonna give you a good forearm workout as well. So you're gonna do this for 4 of the zucchinis. Now check that out, looks just like pasta, except for no calories. We call zucchini free food. Let's look at that, looks just like pasta. Take your 2 garlic cloves and dice those babies up. Now over medium heat, add in 1 tablespoon of that coconut oil, and then add in the garlic. And we're just gonna cook the garlic until it's soft. So now I'm just adding in the tomatoes, mix that up a little bit, red pepper flakes, Italian seasoning, and some salt. Now we'll just mix this up, and we're still cooking this over just medium heat. And once we bring this back to a little bit of a sizzle, a little bit of a boil, we should be good. Now you're just gonna dice up the fresh basil. So now that you see that there's a slight boil, we're just gonna turn down the heat down to low and then add in that fresh basil. Look at the colors, people. It's gonna be so good. Now over medium heat, just added some coconut oil to the pan. We're gonna cook up the shrimp. Let's add a little bit of salt to your shrimp, and then take your paprika, dress that baby up as well. Spice it up, people, spice it up. So the shrimp that I'm using are already cooked, but I'm just using this to heat it up and to spice it. So if you have raw shrimp that you're using, it may take a little longer, but this should only take about 1 to 2 minutes just to heat up the shrimp. Next, you can throw in some spinach into the mix. Okay, next you're gonna remove the shrimp and put it in your marinara mix. Using that same pan that you cooked the shrimp in, add your zucchini noodles, stir it up, and we're just gonna cook these for a few minutes. Set your timer, 2 minutes. So guys, the zucchini noodles are done. The sauce that we have is done. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix it into a big bowl. So let's go over here, I got a big bowl over here. So take your zucchini noodles, into the bowl it goes, get your sauce. Oh, this is gonna be so good. And just toss it together. Last step, the piece de resistance, a little pepper, like that, and hopefully you saved a little bit of the fresh basil to make it look pretty on top. Put a little more pepper on. Damn, that's good. Ooh, that good feels good to say that. In our Live Lean macaroni and cheese recipe, we also use coconut milk and squash as the cheese. Guys, it may sound strange, but it really was delicious. So here's the full macaroni and cheese recipe.
The ingredients start with some butternut squash, and I like to buy it like pre-cut like this, but you can also just buy a whole one and then cut it yourself into 1/2-inch cubes like this. You'll need 2 cups of that. You're also going to need 1 chicken breast, so find some organic chicken breast. Take a whole white onion. You're also gonna need 2 zucchinis, some ground mustard, some ground turmeric, and then some Himalayan pink salt, black pepper, and some ground or fresh thyme. You're also gonna need nutritional yeast for that cheesy flavor. And then what makes it really creamy, the secret ingredient here is the coconut milk. So go for the full fat can of coconut milk. Also for cooking, you're gonna be using some coconut oil spray and some coconut oil. Your first step is to chop the onion. You're just going to use half for this part of the recipe and save the other half for a later part of the recipe. So set that aside, and then you're going to cut it into cubes or square shapes. Throw it into a large mixing bowl. You're also going to add in the butternut squash, 2 cups. Add 1 tablespoon of coconut oil to that mixture, ½ teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt, and about a ½ teaspoon of black pepper as well. And then you're gonna stir this mixture together. Once you've got the coconut oil distributed throughout the mix, you're gonna lay it onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Now we'll bake this in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. So now for the chicken, you're gonna open up that container and just remove 1 of the chicken breasts. And you'll lay it down, season it with some salt and pepper on both sides. Put a medium-sized pan over a medium flame, and then you're gonna take your coconut cooking oil spray and just coat the pan lightly with some non-stick spray. Go ahead and lay that chicken breast in there and let it cook for a few minutes on each side until it looks golden brown. Your next step is to make your macaroni. In this case, it's going to be made out of onion and zucchini. So you're going to take that second half of the onion, cut the end off, and make sure to remove the skin. And you're going to chop this onion finely into smaller than bite-sized pieces. Now with the zucchini, you're going to cut the little hat off, and then you will cut it down the center long ways, and then flip it and do again down the center. And then when you cut it this way, you'll be making these small quarter-sized pieces. Go ahead and finish that with both zucchinis. Once your chicken is finished cooking, it should be a little brown on both sides. You can remove it and set it onto a plate. Now in a larger saute pan, you're going to take that cooking spray and just spray a light coat. Then go ahead and start sauteing your onions and zucchini. So we can now cut the chicken into small cubes and then just set it aside until we're done with the vegetables. Make sure to keep stirring those veggies so they get cooked evenly on all sides, and meanwhile we're going to put together the sauce in the food processor. For the sauce, you want to use your food processor, use the Escalade, and then we're going to put the coconut milk in the entire can is the first step. So be careful when you're using this because it has this thick layer of coconut fat on the top, and then it has this watery mix underneath. So I usually will take a big scoop out and then just pour the water so you don't make a big splash. Next, you're going to use some ground thyme. You can also use fresh thyme, about 1 tablespoon of this. You're going to take ½ a teaspoon of mustard seed, ground mustard seed. You can also just use regular mustard. We'll take ½ a teaspoon of turmeric powder. This is so healthy and good for you. You're also going to add 2 full tablespoons of nutritional yeast. This is what gives it that really cheesy flavor. You can also add a dash of pink Himalayan salts and fresh ground black pepper. Now put the lid on and blend. This is just part of the sauce. It's not quite done yet. We still have to add the butternut squash after it finishes cooking and cooling, so let's give that a check. Once the butternut squash and onions are cooled from baking in the oven, you're gonna go ahead and dump them into the food processor, and then we're gonna blend everything all up. So go ahead and put your cooked zucchini and onions into a medium-sized mixing bowl. Also add the chicken. And now we're ready to pour the sauce over top. Mix everything together well until it's fully combined. Now go ahead and place the mixture into a serving dish and give it an extra little sprinkle of nutritional yeast. And that's it. There you have it, a delicious but super healthy Live Lean version of mac and cheese. Let's give it a bite. Damn, that's good.
Okay guys, healthy pasta substitute number 2, squash. Now, you can use spaghetti squash, winter squash, or summer squash in your favorite pasta recipe. And if you're wondering how to cook spaghetti squash, go check out this spaghetti and meatballs recipe. Okay, healthy pasta substitute number 3, sweet potatoes. So although they're higher in calories and carbohydrates than zucchini and spaghetti squash, sweet potatoes, they're packed with antioxidants, fiber, and other essential vitamins and minerals. So we use thinly sliced up sweet potatoes in this delicious paleo pasta bolognese recipe. All right, first step is we are going to dice up this onion here. So let's move this off our cutting board and get slicing. I always slice from pole to pole with an onion, so slice it in half first, set one aside over here, and then you want to cut off the end pieces. We'll peel the skin off. All right, so there's our onion. Now let's slice it up. So you see the onion is nice and finely diced up. You'll notice in a lot of the recipes here on Team Live Lean, we always cook with onion to begin with, or most of the time we cook with onion because it adds so much flavor and there's a lot of really healthy properties to onions. So eat your onions. Now let's slice up the other half. All right, next up, let's chop up our red pepper. We'll start off by cutting off the top portion of that. Let's poke out that green stem. Cut the other side of the red pepper. Set that aside. And then we want to cut out that middle piece. So simple to do, slide one side down and then just take out that piece like that there. Pull out the rest of the white insides and then we just slice away. Red pepper's chopped up. Now let's chop up these mushrooms back here. Let's give ourselves another cutting board. And all we're gonna do with these guys, simply slice them up just like that. One of the ways to make cooking a lot more enjoyable is get a good set of cutting knives and make sure they are sharp. As you can now see, we have our vegetables that we're gonna saute up. They're all chopped up, so let's get out our frying pan and we're gonna heat this up over medium heat. We're not gonna go too high with the heat because we're using olive oil to saute this up. Let's add in approximately 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'll measure this out. There we go. We'll allow that to heat up just for a few seconds. Okay, so let's add the onions to the pan, and you could also use coconut oil here if you want to heat up the pan a little bit more, but since we're using olive oil, like I said before, too high of a heat when you're cooking with olive oil can oxidate it, so we're using a lower heat. But go with coconut oil if you want to crank up the heat a little bit. So our vegetable mixture has been sauteing for about 5 minutes. I'm actually going to remove half of this because my pan's not going to be big enough to cook this all at one time. So I'm going to remove half and then add the rest of it later. So what we're going to do now is take our ground beef. We're going to add that to the mixture. Crumble that up. Now that the ground beef is crumbled up, we'll add in the 1 teaspoon of dried oregano. Give it a lot of flavor, and then we'll give it a couple turns of black pepper and then some sea salt. So allow this to cook thoroughly. Now let's work on the sweet potatoes. Now we have these 2 guys here. We're going to first peel them with a peeler, simply like that. Now that our ground beef has been browned, let's take our sweet potato and we're just gonna slice with our peeler the sweet potato right into the mixture. Okay, now that we have our sweet potatoes in the mixture, let's mix it all together so the sweet potato noodles will cook. And the last thing we gotta do is take our crushed tomato mixture or tomato sauce and pour it on to make that Bolognese sauce. We'll turn the heat down even lower now because we just want to simmer this all together to get all those flavors to join. Now that we have the sauce covering all of the meat, all of the pasta from the potatoes, we're just gonna let this simmer for 15 minutes. Woo, we are ready to eat. Let's dish some of this out onto a plate. And as you can see, there's tons of leftovers here for us to take to work, to put in our Tupperware right here, to have for snacks through the day. Add a little bit of oregano over top. Okay, the last healthy pasta substitute is carrots. So simply use a peeler to thinly slice up some carrots and you're good to go. I shared a carrot pasta recipe over on my other channel, my BGTV YouTube channel. You can go check it out here. Now we're gonna show you how to make pasta with carrots. Same thing, take the carrot, take your peeler, and then you're creating pasta like that.
That's LiveLean style pasta. Try to get as many veggies into your diet as possible because it helps you keep the calories low while keeping your
volume high.
Volume, yeah.
So you're gonna feel full because your plate is gonna be like full of food, but calorie-wise it's low because there's low calorie veggies and lots of fiber too.
Lots of fiber. Key to living lean and loving it and like feeling satisfied at the same time. So to go with this carrot pasta, we're also making turkey meatballs, which are in the oven baking right now. I'll show you what they look like raw. Right there. And all that is like, what is that, a pound of ground turkey?
Yeah.
Like you just take one package of ground turkey and then mix it with like half an onion, fresh thyme, like use some fresh herbs. Basically onions, garlic, and herbs. Any other veggies you want. Ow, ow, ow. And you form it into little balls and then you put it on a baking sheet. 350 for like 20 minutes. And then you put the carrots on the stove like so with a little garlic. So a little coconut oil, a little garlic, and some carrots up in that pan. And then tomato sauce is next. Everything goes together. Dave Matthews is killing it. That's Brad with his spatula guitar. The finished product.
Let's give it a LiveLean taste. Damn! That's good. All right, so with all that said, guys, if these pasta alternatives just don't do it for you, just stick to these tips. First, try to choose gluten-free pasta options. You could also swap out pasta for your favorite grilled vegetables. Include a high protein and fat food to your pasta dish, for example, meatballs, because when you combine proteins and fats with high glycemic carbohydrates like pasta, it'll help balance your blood sugar and insulin. Also, eat until you're satisfied. Don't stuff yourselves. And here's another thing, guys, it's not an all or nothing thing. So rather than cutting pasta completely out of your diet on day one, simply reduce the portion size of pasta by 1/3. And I'm often asked the question, guys, is whole grain pasta a healthy pasta substitute for white pasta? Well, sure, whole grain pasta contains more nutrients than white pasta. However, whole grain pasta is only a few points lower on the glycemic index, so just be aware. And also, make sure you use a pasta sauce with no added sugar. So pasta sauce is a classic example of a hidden sugar bomb, as some brands contain over 10 grams of sugar per serving. The ingredients list on your pasta sauce should only include vegetables, herbs, spices, and some healthy oils such as extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. And lastly, guys, please make sure you earn your pasta and turn it into gains by following a properly structured workout program. So if you're still on the fence of what workout program you should be doing, go find the best program for you specific to your goals, your fitness level, and access to equipment by taking our Live Lean Body quiz. I'll put a link to that in the video description below. And if you love these recipes that I share in this video, guys, you're gonna love our group coaching platform at teamlivelean.com. Our clients, they get a weekly meal plan with step-by-step cooking videos for every recipe, plus grocery lists and so much more, workout programs. It's all done for you over there. I'll add a link to go join our team down below. And finally, in the comments section below, tell me, what is your favorite healthy pasta substitute? Thank you guys so much for watching, and keep living lean.